Hi friends, happy Monday. Welcome to my channel. I'm Chantal, holistic health coach, nutritionist, and yoga teacher, healer, and I'm really here to help women become the best version of themselves. And I include myself in this journey because I am far from perfect, far from done, and I really want to walk this path with you guys, knowing that we're going to have to struggle together. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to be extremely vulnerable with you and open. Sometimes I feel incredibly strong. Other times I'm feeling a little bit softer. Right now, I have been just feeling very vulnerable and I've been dealing with a little bit of anxiety. Um, my feelings have been quite raw and amplified since the full moon, and it coincided with me starting my my cycle. And I want to just keep it real. These things happen. Sometimes we feel incredibly strong. Other times our hormones can get us a little bit more vulnerable. And this is how I have been feeling. So there are 3 tips I like to share with you when it comes to dealing with anxiety. The first one of the most important things that I've ever learned from practicing yoga even, it's breath work. I used to be a shallow breather. I used to breathe in my shoulders. Everybody that I used to go to, whether it was an osteopath or a yoga teacher, a class when I was in class, or meditation, they always like, why are you breathing in your shoulders? I used to have this very shallow breath and breathe up in my chest and never bring a breath really deep into my belly. When I started practicing yoga, I learned the power of breath work, and I learned how to bring that breath deeply into my belly, how to actually fill my lungs and really push down my diaphragm and then filling up the space so that I can truly breathe deeply, and then exhaling just as deeply and as slowly as I possibly can. That has shifted everything for me. The breath alone can be such a calming medium when we're feeling incredibly overwhelmed. It's not the only thing that can shift us from sympathetic mode to parasympathetic mode, but it is something that can pave the way for us to actually calm down. I've noticed that anxiety for me triggers when there are some emotions that remind me of trauma that is probably from childhood, and I have been perpetuating in a lot of my life because I haven't dealt with it, and now that I am dealing with it is obviously very present, very raw, and it's really hard sometimes to explain it to the people around you, even the people in your family, in your personal life, because they don't necessarily understand our path and journey if they are not following the same. And there are a lot of ways that people deal with trauma. Some people bypass it completely, whether it's with the use of drugs or with religion and spirituality, with work, with whatever they can bypass it by, they do. And the truth is, you can bypass it and not deal with it. That's a choice. But then you're going to find it very hard to understand and relate to people that are actually dealing with this, facing it head on and wanting to express and talk about it and actually acknowledge it, because it's very, very uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for us when we feel it, but it's also uncomfortable for people around us that have no idea how to deal with it. So I found myself in a space where I'm feeling quite lonely in this, because ultimately I have to deal with it myself, but there are some people in my life that are very close who don't necessarily understand this, and they I think as much as people want to be empathic, sometimes they really struggle to go the whole 9 yard, because it's tough to understand the other person. So when I feel that way, I really need to connect to the earth and connect to that inner feeling. So those 3 tips are really helpful. Breathing is really, really helpful. The second thing is actually to calm down the sympathetic system, is to place your finger in your ear and pull down. This is an actual very actionable gesture that you can do, and by doing this and breathing into it, you are calming down the whole system. And you do have to do it on both sides, okay? So you do it here for 10 seconds, you do it here equally for 10 seconds. This is really relaxes. It relaxes your whole face, it relaxes the muscles in your head. I mean, you feel it. It feels like you almost want to go to sleep. And I think actually at night, if you are awake with a panic attack, try to do this and try to go to sleep after. This will actually soothe you and you might be able to sleep as well. So you do this, you hold the inner ear with your finger and pull down each side with the deep breath. And then the third thing is to, after you've done this, just take a bit of time, rest, and then journal the feelings. Write them down. Write down what triggers you and write down what it brought up for you and write down the ways that you can manage that trigger better next time. And it's very easy to maybe sit back and scapegoat situations and people that are triggering these reactions. But truthfully, we have to take responsibility for how we react, because you really can't change how people behave or situations occur. You can't control everything, but you can and must tap into how you react, because that can mimic either an energy draining reaction. So you can go into panic mode, you can start feeling sorry for yourself, you can start hating yourself, you can start making excuses, you can do so many bad things for you in that energy draining place. Or you can go to an energy filling reaction, which is being compassionate and graceful to yourself, knowing that you're going through a journey, through something that you need to deal with. Be patient with yourself, knowing that you actually have to step back and take the time to heal, and it doesn't happen overnight, and you shouldn't judge yourself for it. You should just allow yourself to be incredibly grateful for being aware, because a lot of people go through life not being aware. And just allow yourself to really feel the emotions, but write down these triggers, whether they're people or the situations, because that will help you to identify them, the triggers, and deal with them better. Sometimes triggers, if they are people or situations that we consciously put ourselves into, or that they on purpose create these reactions, then we have to have a choice to step away from it all, to preserve our energy. And you can only do that when you are paying attention to these things, to these triggers, because somehow, especially if you're an empath, if you are a highly forgiving person, you can feel compelled to forget what these triggers are, people and situations, and you find yourself into them over and over again. So use that compassion to yourself as a way to deal with your anxiety and heal from it, and really go into your heart center and allow yourself to feel and forgive yourself as you want to forgive others. I hope this is helpful, and if you have any questions, join me on Instagram, join me on YouTube, listen to my podcast, and feel free to work with me. I do sessions with my clients one-to-one. I just closed the inner circle for 2025, but I do have good news. In a couple of months, you will have access to an online course that you can do at your own pace that is very similar to this. It's a mini course, and it will talk about how to deal with triggers, emotions, and next year we'll open the inner circle again. So you have time to start working on yourself and just developing more and more. And I promise you, you will feel amazing. So I'll see you soon. Bye.